after class, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Prabhuji, you would be sharing the screen by yourself or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your time to give nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are glad to have the association of His Grace Premavasya Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter number 2, Sloka number 66. The chapter titled The Activities of Maharaj Agnidra. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, over to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So let's
And
start.
you can actually share the screen, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, you can share the screen.
Yes. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see the screen, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtiprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Suloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिया वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome you all for this Srimad Bhagavatam class. The sloka that we are going to study today and discuss is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, verse number 6. This is a very long verse. We read slowly. Tameva dure madhukarim iva suman sumansa upajigranti द्विजा मनुजा मनोनयन आह्लाद दुर्गति विहार विडा विन्यालोकया विन्यालोकया स्वरक्षया वय मनसि निनाम कुसुम आयुधस्य विद्धतिम विवरम निजमुखा विगलिता अमृता स्वसहा स्वभासना मदांद मधुकर मधुकर निक्रो पधेन द्रुत पद विन्यासेन बल्गु स्पंदन स्तन कलश कवर भार र, रशनाम देवीं तद अवलोकनेन विवृत विवितावस्रस्य भगवतो मकरध्वजस्य वसम अनु वसम उपनीतो जड विदित हिवाच. So translation will read from this. So when Maharaj Angidhara, so we know that Maharaj Angidhara, he went to do austerity, and he was sitting there, and he has started austerity with a desire to marry, to beget children. And there, when he was sitting there, Lord Brahma sent this Apsara, and the Apsara, her task was to attract the mind of Maharaj. So this is the description given here. It says that like a honeybee, the Apsara smelled the beautiful and attractive flowers. So the Apsara was walking there, and she was making sound with her ankle bells. She was smelling a flower, and it is written that she could attract the minds and vision of both humans and demigods by her playful movements, her shyness, humility, her glances, the very pleasing sounds that poured from her mouth as she spoke, and the motion of her limbs. By all these qualities, she opened for Cupid, who bears an arrow of flowers, a path of oral reception into the minds of men. When she spoke, nectar seemed to flow from her mouth. As she breathed, the bees, mad for the taste of her breath, tried to hover over her beautiful lotus-like eyes. Disturbed by the bees, she tried to move hastily, but as she raised her feet to walk quickly, her hair, the belt on her hips, her breasts, which were like water jugs, also moved in a way that made her extremely beautiful and attractive. Indeed, she seemed to be making a path for the entrance of Cupid, who is very powerful. Therefore, the prince, completely subdued by seeing her, spoke to her as follows. So I will again share the screen. Let me stop my sharing screen here. So Prabhupada says that this was a very, or rather, this is a very unique situation where Maharaj was there. And the very important part here is like whenever they had a desire to do something, one will go for austerity or tapasya. So this is something that we need to learn. If I were given a task of getting married and then having children, then I would start looking for a suitable girl to get married. But here what is said that when Maharaj Premavasya, he went off for the spiritual realization, and Angidhara became the ruler of the Jambudvipa. And and thereafter, it was said that mm, he he would be. I mean, it was said that he wanted to marry, and he went to Mandhara Hills, and his main desire was that he wanted to go to Pitralokas. That was his desire. But the austerity he wanted to perform was to have good children, and therefore he went to Mandara hills to do austerity. So it teaches us that suppose we want to begin any task, any kind of task that you want to begin. So what first we need to do is that we must devote certain time for austerity, for spiritual practices, with the aim that whatever aim could be, it could be a material desires that we want to get a good job, a good wife, or good children. So here what it teaches that we should devote certain time in the beginning for meditation, for some kind of performing austerity. So this will grant us a success. One was that you see that here when Angidhara, he went to Mandara hills and he was performing the austerity. Then Lord Brahma sent him the celestial girl, that Apsara, her name was Purvachitti, and she came there and she did everything to attract the mind of the person sitting in very meditative mood. So in purport, Prabhupada writes, how a beautiful woman movements and gesture, her hair and the structure of her breast, hips, and other bodily features attract the mind. They can attract the mind of demigods and what to say of the normal human being. The words Dvija and Manuja specifically emphasize that the attraction of feminine gestures is powerful everywhere within this material world, both on this planet and in the higher planetary system. So all the conditioned being, be they are human being or demigods, the creator or the creation is such that we naturally get attracted to the feminine quality and gestures. And therefore, the body features of feminine, a woman, is constructed or designed in such a way that they can attract the mind of men. It is said that the standard of living in the higher planet system is thousands and thousands of times higher than the standard of living on the planet, on this earth planet. And therefore, the bodily features of women there are also thousand and thousand times more attractive than the features of women on earth. So Lord Brahma sent this special girl from heaven or from the celestial world because we can think that he was so at, he was so in a meditative mood that a woman on earth she would not she cannot they cannot attract the mind of such a devoted person. And therefore, Lord Brahma had to arrange a girl from celestial world so that she can attract the mind of uh, Angidhara. So Creator constructed women in such a way that the beautiful voices and the movements and the beautiful features of their hips, their breast, and the other parts of the bodies attract the members of opposite sex, both on Earth and on other planets, and awaken their lusty desires. So the purpose of women's attractiveness is to awaken the lust desire within a man. Therefore, it is always advised that women should be properly dressed so that their body features and other things they will never or they are not intended to awaken lust desires in opposite sex. When one is controlled by Cupid or the beautiful woman, he becomes stern like matter, such as stone. Captive by the material movements of the woman, he wants to remain in this material world. What happens once a person they get attracted to the movements of women? He thinks that there is nothing better in this creation than to be in the association of women. And therefore, they would say that I will stay with this girl forever in this world. And they forget that this is not possible. Neither the neither the qualities by which he was attracted, the bodily features, they are permanent, nor he himself is permanent, nor the situation or this everything they know, but what happens that their mind is carried away by uh, these features of this creation, this the bodily features, and they think as it written had a stone by just like a stone. They cannot think beyond. Thus, one's promotion to spiritual world is checked simply by seeing the bodily structures and movement of the woman. So the creator has designed the features of woman in such a way that a person or a man who is attracted by the bodily feature of the woman, he thinks that I will earn throughout my life and serve this girl. And if a girl is able to awaken such kind of desire, this is her success. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore warned that all devotees be aware of the attraction of beautiful women and the materialistic civilizations. One who says that I will associate with women freely, but my mind is not attracted by them. So this cannot be the case because the structures or the features of the woman has been designed by the creator in such a way that they will attract uh, the men, and also the men are equally attractive to the women also. So this is not a one-way direction. This is from the both side direction is there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even refused to see Pratap Rudra Maharaj because he was very opulent person in the material world. Lord Chaitanya said in this connection, Niskinchanasya Bhagavat Bhajan Mukhasya. Those who are engaged in devotional service of Lord because they are very serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should be very careful to avoid seeing beautiful gestures of women and should also avoid seeing persons who are very rich. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that those who are very serious about going back to home, back to Godhead, they should be very careful to avoid seeing beautiful gestures of women because it doesn't matter how much they will try, they will get attracted by them. And once they get attracted, they will compromise with their devotional life, with their devotion practices, and they will think devotion is good, but I would like to stay with this girl or with this boy, and then I would like to stay here for permanent. It doesn't matter what comes in our life, but we will stay. So this mentality comes, and the purpose of this bodily features and attractiveness between opposite sex is the same. So here Prabhupada quotes one sloka from Chaitanya Chaitamrita Madhyalila. Niskincanasya bhagavat bhajan mukhasya param param जिग्मिशोर भव सागरस्य संदर्शनम विषयिनाम अथ योषिताम च विषयिनाम अथ योषिताम च विषयिनाम and atha yoshitam cha means vishayanam who are too much materialistic and their purpose is to stay in this world, enjoy this world, the vishayanam, and yoshitam cha the beautiful girls. Ha hanta hanta visbhakshananto api asadhu. Alas, for a person who is seriously designed to cross the material oceans and engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialistic engage in sense gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested in more abominable than drinking poison willingly. One who is serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should not contemplate the attractive features of women and the opulence of rich man. So there is a warning for all the sadhakas who are very serious that one should not contemplate on two things. One is the attractive features of women. It is especially for the men, and also for the women, the features of the men. They should not contemplate on them. They should not discuss more about this. And the opulence of a rich man. We should not contemplate on the opulence of rich man. They have so many money is there. Their houses are very good. So contemplating means discussing. So our association start with uh, if we appreciate something, we associate with that thing. So if we appreciate the beautiful features of women or men, or if we appreciate that this person is very rich and he has very aristocratic life, he has a good car, his house is good, he wears costly dresses. So these appreciations, I like it. I I would say that I wish I could have this, something like this. So this is called contemplating on them. So the moment to appreciate, we associate. And something which we appreciate that enters in our mind and stays for forever. And we try to be like that. So there is a warning that one who is serious about going back home, that to Godhead, should not contemplate the attractive features of women and the opulence of rich men. Such contemplation will check one's advancement in spiritual life. But the opposite is also true. Opposite meaning, if you start a discussion, or if you start, we get attracted and by the activities of the devotees, we start appreciating the characteristic of devotee. If you start saying that, see how this devotee is so nice, his practice of devotional service is so nice, he's so much engaged in devotional services, his chanting is very good, and he reads very nice, and he follows the rules and regulations so nicely. He's so serious in advancement in his spiritual life. So if we appreciate the qualities of devotees, then we get attracted by the spiritual life. And therefore, everywhere, two things are very important. One is that we learn to appreciate qualities and the activities of devotees and the qualities and the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna. When we appreciate these qualities, then we get attached to those qualities and a desire to be like them comes up. So therefore, whenever if you see any opportunity that we need to appreciate someone who is not serious about the spiritual life, someone who is more into materialistic life, we should not appreciate. We don't have to say anything about them. We should not say they are bad. We should not say they are good. There should not be any kind of discussion or contemplation about them. Even if you say it is bad, something which we say bad, that also attracts us. Something which we say good, that also attracts us. So therefore, no discussion about this. This is good or this is bad, no discussion about it. But whenever it says about devotional life, or about devotees, about the Lord's activity, we must appreciate, we must discuss. So this kind of contemplation is very good for our spiritual progress, our spiritual life, because something which we appreciate, that is what we associate with it. If we do not appreciate, do not discuss, we do not associate. So Prabhupada said in the last line, once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, however, this attraction will not agitate his mind. What what does this mean by saying that once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness? A devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness means that his mind is attracted by the activities of devotees and the activities of the Lord, and not by anything else. So, not by anything else means, suppose there is a disco dance, there is a good movie dance, very famous dance or very famous music is going on. If you see that your legs do not start jumping, if you see that your mind is not releasing that music, your mind is not releasing that song, but the moment you hear a devotee singing a Vaishnava song or Hare Krishna Mahamantra, a good tune, a devotee is dancing, that attracts the mind. So it means that we are fixed in Krishna consciousness. Our mind is not attracted by any girl or any boy who is dancing to enjoy themselves, but our mind gets attracted by them if you see that they are wearing nice tilaka, nice dress, but they are dancing in front of Lord on the tune of Hare Krishna Mahamantra or Vaishnava song or for the pleasure of Lord, and this attracts us, and and a desire that I should also participate in the dance, and so that is what is required. In Padma Purana, it is mentioned very specifically. So there is a whole section in Padma Purana where it is said, and that what are the activities of the devotee should be. It is said that a devotee who dances in front of the Lord, and once he comes out, anyone who sees the devotee, he becomes purified. Anyone whom the devotee touches, he becomes purified. Anyone who talks with the devotee, he becomes purified. So such a glories of a devotee who dances in front of Lord is mentioned in Padma Purana. Similarly, a person who is dancing a disco dance, a bar, or for the self pleasure. So if you go and talk to them, if you associate with them, then we degrade from a spiritual platform. Okay. So let me again share my screen. I have something from the scientific perspective, how our mind get attracted to all those things. Let me know if you can see my slide. Can you see my slide? And you can confirm. You can see, right?
You can see, Prabhuji.
Okay. So what I have given here is this North Pole and South Pole, this magnet. And what you see here are the iron filings. It says that, or the idea I should demonstrate is that in absence of this magnet, iron filings or iron particles will just be lying as a random. But the moment you bring this magnet into it, they align in a force. There's a line of force, the field it creates. So the idea here is that the the material world is in like that there are certain fields are there, and there are certain lines of forces are there, and it is going to happen that way. Something we have discovered, and there are more we need to discover. So here you can see that there are many scientific articles are there. You see hormonal changes when falling in love. So this is it's a clinical trial journal, Psychoneuroendocrinology, published in 2004, and it has been research been done by the people from University of Pisa. What it says that a person when he falls in love, so they measure different kinds of hormonal changes. Cortisol increases, FHS is low, and similarly there are many more articles. Romantic love and reproductive hormones in women. So once a woman or a man is in love, their hormone level goes up and down. There is a lot of changes in the hormone. And these hormones, as we know, that the hormone controls all our activities. So it has been designed in such a way that on seeing a woman or seeing a man, if there is a desire or if there is appreciation of for the man or the woman, and if you desire to associate with man or woman, then what happens? That lot of changes happens in our body. There are changes in the hormones. There are even changes in our brain. So they have studied the functional MRI, magnetic resonance imaging studies. This MRI helps in studying the changes in the brain and how it affects our activities. So whenever a person is attracted by the woman or the man, so if they desire to associate with them, then what happens? The hormonal changes starts to build up within us. In the initial phase, it is easier to control ourselves. When the level of hormone change is less, we can control our senses, we can control our mind, we can control ourselves. But when the hormonal changes is more, we cannot control. Then the hormone will control our activities. A lot of discussion and a lot of research has been there to understand what happens when a man and a woman they fall in love. Fall in love means they get attracted toward each other and they want to associate with each other. So there are a lot of changes in the brain and there are a lot of consequent changes in the hormone level in the body. And because of that, what happens? That in an initial stage you can control, but in later stage, it is not possible to control. And as we know that suppose a person hormonal changes starts in the beginning stage, he can control if he's aware of it, that something is changing in my mind, something is changing in my behavior, something it is changing the way I talk, and he can control. But if the amount of hormones is more in the blood they're flowing, then there are many changes in the body, and then he falls a trap to it. And therefore, it is very important to understand this, that it is not that if someone says that I will appreciate, I will associate with man or woman, and then I have control over myself, this is not possible. Just like once a person who says that I drink alcohol, but everything is my control, this is not possible. Up to certain limit, a small amount, just like medicines, in there are many medicines are there where there is alcohol. That medicine also has the capacity to put someone on sleep. They fall asleep, they douse. So therefore, if you take cough syrups which contains alcohol, it is advised not to go for driving or do any harmful activity where you require more attention or be alert, because once it gets inside the body, then the effect of those chemicals is going to control us, and we cannot control those things. Similarly, there are hormones in the body. If the hormonal changes takes place, then it becomes very difficult for us to control ourselves. Hormones will control us. So this is a diagram block. So the diagram is plotted versus desires versus changes in hormonal level. So let us discuss this very interesting one. So when our desire is low, then the changes in hormonal level are also low. That is a normal condition. When our desire is high, very high desire, then the hormonal change is also very high. This is also normal condition. But the problem is that when desire is very high and the hormonal changes are very high, then it is not possible for us to control ourselves. It is not possible to control our activities. It's not possible to control our body. Sometimes it may be that we have a low desire, but there is changes in hormone is very high. This is not normal. And even if a person has a high desire, but the hormonal changes is not taking place, So these two are not normal condition, and it may require a discussion with the doctor. But the normal condition is like if you low desires, how much changes will be low, and therefore you can control yourself, you can control your body, you can control activity. But if the desire is very high, then the hormone change is also very high, and then it is a gone case. It is not possible for us to control ourselves, control our activity. So what happens that as the hormonal changes starts moving higher, our ability to control becomes lower. So we have higher control when our hormones are in normal state, and we have very low control on our senses when the hormonal changes are very high. Therefore, one should never try to play with this material world. As Lord said that Mama Maya Durataya, it is very difficult to cross over my material potencies. So these energies, hormonal changes are the external energy of the Lord. And it has been designed in that way. It has been designed in certain way, and that whenever man and woman they come closer, there has to be a principle of attractiveness, and then the man or woman they think that I will do everything for this girl, I will do everything, and I can spend all my earnings on her. I will do whatever she likes. Why? Because he is attracted to her or she's attracted to the man, and they want to do everything. They want to fight with everyone. And that principle exists because that has been designed in that way. And we cannot go against that design. And therefore it is said not to associate, not to appreciate. Even brahmachari, they who are very serious in devotional life, they don't talk to opposite sex, and they don't much appreciate their activities other than their devotional activities. So, what controls our desires? How this desire is getting controlled? One who thinks that I am this body, for them, changes in the body is that what drives. So there is sloka in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 13, verse number 6 and 7. It says, Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktam evacha indriyani dasekam cha panchacha indriya gochara ichha dvesa sukham dukkham sangha chetana dhriti eta chetram samasena savikaram udharitam. So you can see this very beautiful, it is written here that the five great elements, false ego, the five great elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and then false ego. So whenever we hear about this five great element, earth, water, fire, and ether, we should not be misled by the fact that we see fire here, that is the fire, we see water here, that is the water. These are the great elements. So if we want to understand this great element in terms of current scientific understanding, in terms of quantum or in terms of string theory, then just think about those quantum fields and string theory. It says that when there was no electron, when there's no proton, there's no quarks, nothing was there. There was absolute vacuum. In that vacuum, a field existed. And from that field, in a complete vacuum, the field existed, and that field gave rise to all these electrons, protons, and now we are a human body. Then this metals, non-metals, everything came out from that field, and that field is like a unmanifested stage. And whatever is mentioned here, the great five elements, they are those kind of subtle elements that existed uh, in the start of this material creation. And from that came out. So they are very subtle particles. Of course, the fire that we see, the liquid, the water that we see, they are representatives of that, but we should not think that they are so gross. They're very subtle particles. They were present in the very beginning of the creation. Then the false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, the mind, five sense object, desire. So this is what I want to focus at: desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregated, the life symptoms and convictions. All these are, all these are in summary to field of activities and its interaction. So the desire is something that is inbuilt in this our human body system. It is not coming from outside. There is a desire of the soul also. There is a desire, there is an intelligence of the soul also. There, there's an intelligence of the soul, there's a desire in the soul. But the body, the body, the body which we are now, the human body or the animal body or the bird's body, they also have the intelligence, inbuilt intelligence and the desires. But when when a soul is entrapped in the body of an animal or a bird, then their intelligence, the intelligence of soul and the desire of the soul is highly subdued or overpowered by the intelligence of the body. And in human body, the intelligence and desire is very strong. So the condition is like this. This is the picture I took from internet. The picture displays that this is the auto drive car, driverless car, and the driver is sleeping and the car is driving. So the intelligent human being, so the driver has intelligence, car also has intelligence. Now the driver is relying on the intelligence of the car. He has set the car in the autopilot mode and the car is going. And he is sleeping, or the C is sleeping, the driver is sleeping. This is the same condition with our body. Our body has intelligence. It knows, the body itself knows how to act, how to react. Body will fall asleep, body feels hungry. Of course, the body cannot fetch the food itself, but it feels hungry. If there is an injury, it repairs itself. It knows when to run. So if there is some danger, there is a reaction from our adrenaline gland, and then there's a fight or flight mode activated. So if you are in fear, either to fight or to run away from that place. There is a sense of called a struggle for existence. So the body wants to survive. The body wants to maintain itself. And this body is designed in such a way that whenever this body comes in close contact with the opposite sex, this hormonal changes will start occurring in the body. Those who are not aware of this distinction, those who are not aware that the soul is residing in the body and the soul has also an intelligence, soul also has a desire, what happens that they get carried away by the intelligence and the desire of the body, thinking that this intelligence and this desire is their own desire. But this is not the fact. Just like many times when we are driving a car and we are looking at what is called map, Google Map, and we go somewhere else. Sometimes Google will say, move ahead, your destination is 10 meters away, but we see there is a wall is there, the road is closed, but it says that move ahead. But at that time, we need to use our own intelligence. No, this is not correct. I think we should follow a different path. The map is wrong. Similarly, what happens that when we read Bhagavad Gita, when we read Bhagavatam, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is to awaken the sleeping driver. This driver is sleeping. Now we need to awaken the driver. Get up. Use your own intelligence. You can take help of the autopilot, auto mode of the car, but it is always safe to be in awake condition so that if there is anything which car cannot control, but you can control yourself. So that is what is required. But as you can see that because this person is sitting in the car, his control is only very limited. For example, if there is a situation where there is a mountain ahead, now this car cannot climb over the mountain. And the person, he keeps sitting in the car and wants to go up the mountain. It is not possible. But he goes out of the car, he can climb the mountain, he can swim in the ocean, he can go inside the ditch, he can come out, he can run in the field, he can go everywhere. But the car is not possible. So there are advantages of the car and there are disadvantages of the car. But a person who is very intelligent, he knows that he's not the car itself. He also knows that car has the intelligence, but he himself also has the intelligence. And then he can use his intelligence as required. He can modulate the car's activity. But it's always good that the car has the intelligence, car has the sensors, always good. So it is always good to drive a car which is loaded with many features, many functions are there, many things are there. It becomes very easy to control that car. For example, in case of an animal body, so if the hormonal changes takes place in the body of a monkey or in the body of the birds, you know, so there are a lot of study wherein it has been mentioned that what are the changes takes place when the animals they desire to have sex life, they desire to produce their children. Many changes takes place, and it is visible to the opposite sex party that they are willing to associate. So these changes are very visible. But for the human beings or the human body, those changes are not visible, it is not seen because we have the control, we can control itself. But if we are not aware that we are soul and our purpose in this body is different than the purpose of the body, the purpose for which the body is designed is completely different. The body is designed to struggle for existence in this world. It struggles. Why it struggles? Because it been designed in such a way that it gives the maximum comfort to the embodied soul. It gives maximum opportunity to fight in this world. But as an embodied soul, our purpose is not such. So those who are self-realized person, one who realizes all these things, then his purpose is to go out of this body. They want to break the barrier. And therefore, what happens in Bhagavad Gita, we also read in 5th chapter that what it says that while seeing, while walking, while eating, while inhaling, while exhaling, doing what activity, always think that the body is doing the activity, not I. I am not doing activity. I am just sitting in the body, just like this driver is sitting in the body, and the body is performing the activity. And if some changes is happening in the body, it is because the body is designed in that way. I should not get carried away by those activities of the body. But if the body, if the changes in the body is very drastic, then I cannot control. For example, suppose the car is going towards a fire. Okay, car is going towards a fire. I can control and turn the car, but the car is completely into the fire. It is so heated, and every with fire is there. It's difficult for me, and then the car will destroy it, and soul will not be destroyed. Soul can always will be freed, but the body is destroyed. Everything happens. So similarly, if you see that certain situation is very provoking to me, a situation is that my anger will be provoked, I'll become very angry, I will be attracted. The situation is that if I associate with that person, then I will start thinking that I should earn more, I should also have a big car, I should also have a good wife, I should also have a in my children who are studying in a very very big universities, and they're also very opulent. I used to also be a man who is being followed by many people, and I used to also be a man whom everyone admires with a lot of followers. Why? That desire was not there initially, but the desire comes up when we associate with such person. If we appreciate these qualities, then the desire will start in the body, and the changes will start occurring. And now it cannot control. So there is a intelligence in the body inbuilt, and there's an intelligence of the soul also. But many people are not aware of this fact, and they are being driven by the intelligence of the body. So in this sloka also it is mentioned the same way that the Apsara, Rupachiti, she come there, and she has started displaying those qualities which a man will appreciate. And then the moment he will appreciate, so Maharaj Angidhara, he was half closed, his eyes were half closed, and then he just heard the sound of the ankle bell. And then with half closed eye, he saw the girl, he saw the Apsara, and he was so attracted that his eyes were wide open. And then he, he stood up and he walked toward the girl and started talking to her and started appreciating her body features, everything started. And then he was completely attracted toward the girl. So this is what happens. So there are other dimensions to it to understand. But for what, as a devotee, we only consider those dimensions from all the scriptures, from all the Vedas, which are helpful for our spiritual progress. There will be many dimensions to it, like he wanted to get a son, and Lord Brahma also wanted that he should get married and he should have son. And then there was the son was the Rishabdev, and the Rishabdev was the Lord himself, and then he propagated. So these plannings are there, but we are interested in only considering those perspectives which will help us to make spiritual progress, and that should be our motto. Just for example, a businessman, he may go on a vacation, but a good businessman, even on a vacation, even while sleeping, he only thinks of how to increase his revenue, how to increase his business. Even if you go for a park, go for out walking in the park in the morning, he will see that how I can start a small business so that everyone who's coming in the park will buy something from me and the business will run. Similarly, there are many perspectives to it. A businessman is not interested in science or philosophy, anything, but he's interested only in how to earn money. Similarly, a scientist is not interested in how to earn money, but he's interested in why it works, how I can replicate it, how I can do it, how I can understand it. Similarly, they're in a similar way, a devotees, they're interested in only those aspects of whatever they read, whatever they see, whatever they perceive, from where how I can make my spiritual life, how I can progress in the spiritual life. And how to do this? This is given in another verse in Bhagavad Gita. This verse number, chapter 13, verse number 8 to 12. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahinsam, sartyardvam, acharyapasanam, socham, astheram, atavinigraha, indriyarthesu, vairagyam, anhankara evacha, jannamittu, jaravyadi, dukkha, dosana, dasanam, asakti, anavisangaha, putradara, grihadisu, nityam cha, samachityatam, ishtam, anishtam, upattisu, mai chananya yogena, bhakti abhivicharini, vivukta वियुक्त देश सेवितम अर्ति जन संसदि अध्यात्म ज्ञान नित्यत्वम तत्व ज्ञान दशम एतद् ज्ञानम इति प्रोक्तम अज्ञानम एतत् अन्यथा. So humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil, birth, death, old age, disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness and pleasant, amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, that Lord Krishna, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and the philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these are declared with knowledge, and beside this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is not the interaction of the 24 elements. The result of interaction of 24 elements was discussed in the previous verse that we discussed. Icha, dves, desire, hatred, all those things are the interaction of the 24 elements as discussed before. This is what I mentioned here: humility, pridelessness, renunciation of objects of sense gratification. This is actually the means to get out of the entanglement of those elements. So in the prior verse, it is mentioned what are the activities of the body. So happiness and distress, there is a desire of the body, there's an intelligence of the body, everything is there. And how to overcome, how to know ourselves is by following this process. So you can read this verse in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Prabhupada has given very elaborate purport on this, which will be very helpful to understand the meaning and how we can do it. But the idea is that we must know that the body has an intelligence and we also have an intelligence, and the whole purpose of this spiritual life and associating with the spiritual master is to awaken our intelligence so that we can overpower the intelligence of the body and take charge of the body and not carried away by the body. So this is what we understand. So thank you very much. So I will stop here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you for such a wonderful presentation, and you very beautifully started with how, as a practicing sadhaka, we have to be extremely cautious in our dealings with the opposite gender, and also you scientifically explained what happens when we are dealing with opposite gender and how it is related to the desires. I think that was a very beautiful way of putting across the things, and also after that you connected this actually to the basic philosophy of I'm not the body, I'm the soul. And again, Prabhupada, he kept on insisting on this specific point in many of the classes. If you see, I think Prabhupada was underlying the fact. And after you actually established that with the analogy of car, when we are driving in the car, we should we should be conscious that I'm not the car, but I'm the person who is inside the car. So if you are aware of that, if you're cognizant of that, I think we should be able to really be relieved. So I think it was a very good presentation, Prabhuji, and also not only presenting the problem, but also finally you also quoted Bhagavad Gita on how we can actually overcome by quoting the sloka of the liberated soul. So it was very beautiful, Prabhuji. I actually request the devotees to share their comments or reflections. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for a really fantastic presentation, I would say, because you really very wonderfully brought out how we need to, as we were talking about, how the intelligence should, overpower the desire, so that we are in the right state. And you very nicely brought about the thing of, I mean, you really opened up a very wonderful thing of why it is said that one has to be very, very careful of how they present themselves to maybe uplift the spiritual desire of others than the other part of the material part of it. So I had a question on this. So when we let's say we go to temple or we meet something, whatever it is, and whatever it may be, how should a person get dressed in that? We always say we should be dressed very nicely before the deities or everything. So where do we draw this line of, because the person taking could take it very differently. So somebody could take it, it could attract the person otherwise. So how do you think is a better way of presenting before the deities? Ourselves, I mean.
Thank you, Babu. Thank you for asking this question. And I think more experienced devotee, they can answer it better way. So the idea here is like when you present before a deity, we should dress up nicely. Dress up nicely, it means that we should be clean and we should take bath. The bathing is we should take bath, we should clean ourselves, our hair and nails, they should be properly cut. And as far as dress is concerned, the dress should not be like, there should not be any torn. It should be very neat and clean. And it should be as simple as possible. So it is said in Padma Purana that brahmachari used to wear this white dress. Or they would wear the dark this deer mrik charma, and that was to be killed, not killed. It is said that ahimsa means those deer which died automatically, their skin they can put on. So the idea is that we should very our present ourselves and dress nicely, means we should take bath. We should not go before deity without taking bath, and we should be more simpler, as simple as possible. We should not display our opulence before the deity, meaning that we should not wear a costly ornament, jewelry, or very costly thing to display our opulence before the deity. Where minimum dress is required. So there should be something on the upper body, there should be on the lower body, and Prabhupada has given very nice way that it doesn't matter if the person has 10 crore in his bank balance, he also wear a dhoti kurta which cost something around 1,000 rupees, and a person who has 10,000 rupees in his bank balance also wears the same kind of dhoti kurta available in temple. So that is what is the best way to dress ourselves. And for the women also they should take bath, and they should not left their hair open. So hair should be tightly properly so braided and kept properly, and they should not also wear dress which attracts the mind of the devotees. They should take a bath and wear very simple dress, and dress should not display their opulence. They should not display the opulence of their body, neither the opulence of their material thing. Very simple, neat and clean. It should display the devotional behavior of them. So that is what is required to go before the deity.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very good.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, are there any other comments or questions? Or we? Okay. I think there are no questions or comments, Prabhuji. Thank you once again, Prabhuji, for wonderful presentation and, very beautifully connecting the Shastra with, some of the scientific aspect and, as a practicing sadhaka, how we should be referring to Bhagavad Gita and implement in our life so that we can advance towards Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you once again. And we will end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindho bhajayavit. पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you devotees. I will end the Zoom session now. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.